Hello, good afternoon, everybody. This is Kushi with Abhinav and Arif presenting you our app Cinefy. It is a movie recommendation app on which we have working from the past several months. Our app is designed to provide an immersive and seamless video streaming experience for all the users of all ages and interests. In this presentation, we will be taking a closer look at the features and the functionality of our app, including its user interface, search, browse capabilities, streaming quality options, language and subtitle effort, and much more. We will also be discussing some of the technical challenges we faced during development and the solutions we implemented to overcome them. In this app, first user have to log into their account to proceed further, and for this we have used Firebase. Then user will be directed to the home page. There the user will be getting the videos in the different categories like trending and upcoming. From there you can play those videos, add them to the favorites and much more. We have used React for user interface, Tailwind CSS for the styling of the app, Firebase for storing the database, the movies database to the and exists as a popular JavaScript library that is used to make HTTP requests from the browser or Node.js.
We ended up choosing React as a front-end framework. It is a popular JavaScript library for building user interfaces. Its advantages include the ability to create reusable UI components and efficient rendering through a virtual DOM and easy integration with other tools and libraries in the JavaScript ecosystem. React also has a large community with extensive documentation, tutorials, and resources, as well as a thriving ecosystem of third-party libraries and tools such as Redux, React Router, and Next.js. These features make React.js a powerful and flexible tool for building complex and scalable web applications. We chose Tailwind as a CSS framework. It's a utility class first approach to CSS that provides predefined classes to style JSX elements. Its main advantages include faster development times, consistency, and flexibility in styling, as well as improved maintainability and scalability of code. Tailwind CSS also offers customizable configuration options and a large community with extensive documentation and support.
Firebase. Firebase Auth is a service for authenticating using email and password credential. It allows developer to easily integrate a secure authenticating system into their application. Firestore is a cloud store based NoSQL database service that allows developer to store, query, and sync data across multiple devices. It is designed to scale with the demand of modern application and provides the flexibility to store variety of data type such as document, collections, and key value pairs. API Movie Database is an online database of information related to movies, TV shows, and people in the industries. It contains detailed information about title, cast, crew, and production companies, as well as user ratings and reviews. It also contains data from Box Office, Mojo, and IMDb. The TMDB is an open source project and its API is used in many applications and websites. Exhaust is an open source library used to make HTTP requests from the browser to the server. It is designed to be a lightweighted alternative to existing options like jQuery's Exos XML HTTP request. Exos can be used to fetch data from the TMDB servers and display it in the browser.
This project was initialized using Create React app. We have used Firebase for our backend services, and as you can see, this is our configuration file, and we have exported the authentication APIs and Cloud Firestore. Over here, you can see how the routing of the app looks like. It's done using React Router, and it's entirely wrapped around the auth context provider component. As you can see, several routes are also wrapped around a protected route so that the users can only access them if they are logged in. Over here is the auth context provider component and a user auth hook. The auth context provider is a component provider that creates an authentication context for its children components. It uses the Firebase authentication and Firestore services to handle user authentication and storing saved data for a user. The auth context provider components includes functions for sign up, login, and log out. It also uses a use effect hook to listen for changes in user authentication state. The user auth hook allows components to access the authentication context created by the auth context provider component. Here we have got the code for the main component. It displays a random popular movie from the movie's database API as a background image along with the movie's title, release date, overview, and two buttons for playing the movie and adding it to a watch later list. The component uses the Axios library to fetch movie data from the movie database and use state and use effect hooks to manage the state of the movie's data. The truncate string function is used to truncate the movie to a specific length. Finally, the component exports the main component as a default export. The component is styled using Tailwind CSS. This code defines the navbar component, which displays the navbar. The component uses React Router to handle navigation and the user auth context to check if the user is logged in or not. The navbar component contains a handle logout function that logs out the user and navigates to the home page upon clicking on the logout function. The navbar component also contains a conditional rendering that displays different options depending on whether the user is logged in or not. If the user is logged in, the component displays an account button and a logout button. Otherwise, it displays a sign in button and a sign up button. The component returns the navigation bar JSX, which contains the Cinefy logo, the conditional rendering for user authentication, and navigation links. Defines URLs for several movie categories or lists using the TMDB API and exports them as an object called requests. The API requests are authenticated using a key constraint. This code defines a React component called row, which receives three props: title, fetch URL, and row ID. It uses the use state and use effect hooks to fetch a list of movies from the provided API endpoint fetch URL and renders the list of movies using another custom component called movie. The movies are rendered within a horizontal scrolling container using the CSS overflow X scroll property. The title prop is used to display the title of the movie now, and the row ID is used as a part of the ID for the slider container. Here's the custom movie component I was talking about. It renders a movie image and title and allows the user to save the movie to their account. The movie component uses state hooks to keep track of whether the movie has been saved and whether it has been liked by the user. The user auth function is called to retrieve the user's email address, which is used to identify the user's document in the Firestore database. The save show function is called when the user clicks on the heart icon and updates the user's Firebase document to add the saved movie data. Finally, the component renders the movie image, title, and heart icon with conditional rendering depending on whether the code has been saved and liked by the user. Over here we have a code snippet of the saved shows function, which works in tandem with the movie component to display a user's saved shows. The component uses the use state hook to define a state variable called movies, which holds an array of user's saved shows and the user auth context to get the current user's email. The component also uses a use effect hook to subscribe to updates to the user's saved shows in the snapshot using the onSnapshot function from the Firebase module. Whenever the saved shows list is updated, the setMovies function is called to update the movies state variable with the new list of saved shows. The component also defines a function called deleteShow, which takes an ID as a parameter and removes the corresponding movie from the user's saved shows list in the database using the updateDoc function from the Firebase module. When a saved show is rendered, a close icon is displayed that can be clicked to call the deleteShow function and remove the show from the list. Over here we've got the sign up page. It uses auth context to allow users to sign up. It uses the use state hook to manage the email and password from fields and the use navigate hook from React Router DOM to redirect the user to the home page after sign up. The handle submit function is triggered when the user submits the sign up form. It calls the sign up function from the use auth context with the email and password state variables as arguments and redirects the user to the home page on success. The component renders a sign up form with email and password inputs and a sign up button as well as a link to the login page for users who have already signed up. This component also uses styling from Tailwind CSS. Over here, we have got a login page that provides basic logging functionality for the website using React and React Router. It imports React, use state, link, use navigate, and user auth from different modules. Use state is used to manage the state of the component, and user auth is a custom React hook from the auth context module that provides the user and login function. The use navigate hook is used for navigating to other routes. The component renders a background image and a login form. When the form is submitted, the handle submit function is called, which uses the login function from user auth context to log in the user. If there is an error, it displays on the form. If the login is successful, the user is navigated to the home page. This is the home page that returns the main component followed by several row components with different props. Each row component displays a different category of movies or TV shows based on a specific fetch URL passed as a prop which is defined in the requests module. Finally, we have got the accounts page. It returns a JSX element that displays an image and text followed by the saved shows component. The image and text are overlaid with a semi-transparent black background. The saved shows component is rendered after the image and text and it displays a list of the saved TV shows. Got the player page. The code returns a custom JSX element that renders a custom video player component called React Netflix Player with various props including the video source URL, the movie title, a back button, autoplay, and event callbacks. The player component is used to play the movie and the full player prop is set to true to display the movie in full screen. The other props are related to player functionality such as handling clicks, playback status, and playback position. Thank you for watching.